This is the Wurlitzer 120 amp after having the power supply recapped, as well as a couple of electrolytic capacitors in the amp replaced. There was also a 0.1 microfarad cap from AC line to chassis. Some people call these death caps. I think the purpose of them is to filter out radio noise. But they can cause problems if they malfunction, which can create an electrical hazard, and I've removed it from here. Someone had put a 5 amp fuse on this thing. It only calls for a 1 amp fuse. We've got a 1 amp fuse in there now. The power supply caps are mounted securely on a terminal strip with radial caps, you can see right there. And everything is tight and secure. The can capacitor is still there, but we're not using it. We have new radial or axial caps in places. This is the cathode of the 6v6 tubes. Let's see, we got 15.5 volts. It calls for 15 volts, so that's very close. The first stage of the power supply schematic says 310. We're at 318.6. Everything's looking good. The control grids of the 6v6 tubes are 0 volts and 0 volts. So everything is happy. The plates of the 12AX7 tube are supposed to be 100 volts. They're sitting at 121. That's not bad. And 130.6. So that's typical with modern day line voltage. I've got a variac here. I can turn it down a little bit. You know, you'll see more schematic appropriate values if you turn it down to 90%. The power cable actually was faulty. Maybe it was flaky or something. This was the power cable that was delivered with it. I don't think it's original to the piano. It says Leviton. I don't think Leviton makes these cables anymore. The only power cable that I had laying around that was even remotely suitable to fit came on my Kirby vacuum cleaner. So I'm gonna have to find a better, shorter cable. It almost matches though, kind of avocado green, kind of goes with the whatever color that is of the piano. So I think this amp is good to go. We've got our dummy load attached. We're gonna drop it in now and listen to it. Okay, I have the amp back in the piano, and the reed bar is connected again, and we've got a little noise. That's expected. I feel like there's actually less hum than there was before I rebuilt it, which isn't that surprising. Probably because of the new caps in the power supply, which is great. I actually can hear the notes a little better, and I found that if I use this tool, you know, plastic handle with a hook, I can hear the note much better than if I try to smack it with something. And it actually registers on my strobe tuner. So we're going to continue on with tuning. The top third of the reed bar is going to be tricky to tune because this aluminum block is hiding the reed screws. I'm guessing it's like a resonator block, so I'm going to unbolt it. It's got a series of Allen screws over here, and I'm guessing long machine bolts holding it here, so I'll take that off. I've already taken off these dampers over here, these long ones, because for sure they're going to be in the way of the screws. After dampers have been taken off, you can't install the reed bar again without somehow holding back the damper push wires, because otherwise they just fall and they're in the way. So I took a piece of twine and tied it over here and clamped it here to hold these things so that I could have room to put this in. And then of course I had to use a wooden rod to push on the dampers like so that I didn't damage any of the felt as I was sliding the reed bar in. And then we have paper punchings in between to space the height of the reed bar. Those had to go back. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to tune these. These blocks came off. Should be easy now to play them and tune them. And I think I actually can take the dampers off, or I can reinstall the dampers without having to remove the reed bar again. I have a really long and narrow flathead that can just reach like so to reinstall dampers after I'm done here. So the reed bar does not have to come out again unless I'm needing to make any other changes to regulate this action, but hopefully not. I can see why this resonator block was installed, because most of these reeds have a real, just no sustain. Very faint. So the only reed up in this range that I'm having a real issue with is this G, because it's sharp. Well, my strobe tuner really doesn't show you visually how sharp it is, but you can hear it. You know, this G is 3 cents flat. This G is 1 cent flat. So if I loosen this reed and I scoot it forward, I ran into a problem where the front of the reed was touching the pickup. I've just replaced the resonator block, and man, that thing really does help. Without that block, these notes are just almost silent, but with it, they sing out. See, that's fun. We got some crackles, and sometimes the reed bar gets debris. This G was the problem note. I finally added some solder to the reed and filed it down to the right shape, and it's in tune with its neighbors. Maybe not that neighbor, but the intonation changed. This G sounded different with the resonator on than with it off. So how are you supposed to tune this piano if the intonation changes once you put the resonator block back on? I don't know. I think it's close enough that we can call it tuned. So now I'm going to finish regulating and get this thing playing as best it can.